everyone. We're here with Sophia and Patrick from Of the Sun. If you don't know him, it's a killer like technical death metal project that Patrick, I think, if I correct me if I'm wrong, you compose all of the songs, correct?
Yeah, I wrote all of these songs on this record that's coming out here on November.
Pattern Rebirth. What's the release date?
The release date is November 15th. Am I clipping out at all? It looks like my signal's a little weak. Okay, cool.
No, you seem okay on this end. Um, hey, good signal. Um, are you just releasing, is it just being released digitally or are you releasing physical copies along with it?
Well, I'm going to feel that out. It depends on the response. And I'll probably do a limited release of physicals just for like, the core fans, start with that. And then, if there's more want of this, then we'll see.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of want of this.
Cool, man. Well, let's go.
For real.
Yeah.
So what like with when you started writing Pattern Rebirth, did you have anything in mind going into it, or were you just like I like this riff, I want to turn it into something?
The song itself or
The whole EP.
oh, I see. It was just really piece by piece, and honestly, I don't really have a technique or a method of songwriting. It's just like, I don't know, I feel like I just kind of open myself up for frequencies or signals or whatever, and I'll just kind of manufacture ideas just either A, by fucking around on the guitar, or just walking around and thinking, or like going on a run, and that's like kind of my form of meditation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
um, but I mean, it's just it's all things, like I don't have just one channel through which I create, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's kind of nice. So it kind of when you're in different elements, I'm sure it brings out, different different aspects, and you're like, oh shit, like that might sound really cool. Let me try that.
Yeah, dude, yeah, absolutely. But
So
yeah.
what was the writing process like going into the EP?
Well, I mean, this material is old. Like, um, I had these songs pretty much done by the time I released my last EP, which was before Human Path, like back in 2017. And and then everybody else in the band quit. And I was like, well, I can't just like let these songs not exist. I'm just gonna create a demo. And I went into the studio, and the our producer was so cool with me, and he was out of the country, but he gave me the keys, let me just like figure things out and record my own demo in the studio. And as far as like the writing process, um I mean, each song kind of came together in its own way. So for instance, the song Pattern Rebirth came together, like it started to get pieced together back in like 2012, I want to say.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's some old shit, man. But I started working on it, and as it really took shape, uh I was on vacation and visiting my sister in Dublin, and I took a couple of days just to like walk around with a little notebook and just kind of let my mind receive things. I don't know how to explain it. But the words came to me on the streets of Dublin, just like walking around, and
Ah,
I really have didn't have an intention for those words. It was only after they came together I realized what I had written, and it was like, well, this is kind of open-ended, but like knowing myself, I knew immediately like what it was about. But,
yeah. Well,
and for the most part, I'd have to say, besides, the whole, you know, walking around in Dublin and shit. The other songs, they kind of came together in a similar fashion, just like in different places. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, the cool thing about songwriting is like every person is going to interpret it, with like maybe the emotion they're going through that day or whatever their method is.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I'm always hesitant to assign too much meaning to the lyrical content. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you don't get super specific with it, I think people will they connect with it a lot more because they're like, oh, well, this is what he means. And that's where, those conversations, I remember having those conversations as a kid, like this song, this is what it means. Someone else is like, no, this is what it means. Like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
sure. Yeah, I know what you're
That
talking
was always, yeah.
about.
Um, so, um, you know, with the EP, do you have any like goals or thresholds that you're, shooting for?
Oh man, I know I'm supposed to say shit like, I'm gonna start touring and do the real thing and like blow up or whatever. But like honestly, I just I feel compelled to create this shit, and I'm putting it out because I feel like it would be a disservice to let this stuff die in my head. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
die with me. And I guess I'm just kind of seeing if there's any ears for it. You know what I mean? Like if there is, great. If not, like I'm still gonna create. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just what I'm doing.
Well, I think that's how it should be, like if you're going to create, whether there's, you know, 10 million people that want to listen to it or 100,
Yeah.
right? Like, and from a songwriter's perspective or, a composer's perspective, I feel like that's something that you feel you need to do.
Yeah, it's certainly a motivating factor, like just being in bed in the middle of the night and then just having a structure just form itself in my head. And like, it could be 3 in the morning and I have to get up and fucking grab the guitar. Just like, okay, that's new. I don't think I've heard that before. All right, record it and just like do a sloppy recording on my cell phone and like capture it. Fuck yeah. You know?
Woohoo! Then you go listen to it and you're like, oh, kind of sounds like shit, but I really like that, whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like a little seed, and it doesn't have to be polished,
Right.
like especially, and it never is like first thing, in the middle of the night. Just it's just capturing it and then like working on it and refining it and just I don't know. I'm stoked on that kind of shit.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the creative process I think is always really cool. It's always fascinated me because like you said, you don't really have an actual process that you go through. It's just like almost when lightning strikes, you're like, fuck yeah, gonna do this and do that. Whereas other artists, they sit down and they're like, okay, I'm gonna dedicate 2 hours today to sitting down and writing a song. I'm
Well, I
not
mean,
doing.
don't get me wrong. I try to do that, and sometimes I'm productive with that angle. Um, but for the most part, when I'm sitting down working on music, it's just like doing what I can to sharpen my technique.
Yeah.
And, sometimes I'll be playing something that I'm working on, and then like I'll fuck up a little bit, and then like, wait a minute, that actually sounds better than what I've had all this time. Let's just go with that, you know what I mean?
I love it when that happens. Like, oh, that started out as a fuck up. There's a real famous piano piece in an old God, like it's a classic rock song and it just has a piano piece in there and they wrote the song no piano and then one of the guys was just in the studio fucking around.
Mhm.
It wasn't even one of the band members, it was one of the crew, I think, and he like wrote it and they're like, holy shit, and put it in there and I don't remember
This
what
is
song.
ringing bells. Like it's in the periphery of my memory, but I can't quite. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, shit, I brought it up. I should know the song. Damn it. Um, but I think that those times it really takes the song, I think, to a new level. You're like, oh, it's cool here, and then like you said, oh, I fucked it up, but oh man, that sounds better. Like shit, I'm gonna do that. And you're like, oh, this glass ceiling just broke for that song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's dope. I love it when that happens.
Yeah,
I can't say it's like a, a part of the usual process, but yeah, it's a treat when it does.
yeah. That's what makes it so special,
Yeah.
because it's not like I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna fuck this up on purpose. You're just like, oops.
Well, dude, I mean, that could be an approach to an entire record, you know what I mean?
All right, we've got the next of the Sun record. We're gonna write songs and fuck all of them up.
Done fucked it up.
That's hilarious. Um, so is there a song on the EP that you like more than another? Like that it maybe it sticks to you for a emotional reason or what have you?
I can't, no, I can't really say that that's the case. Each song is its own animal. Um, and they have their own intentions, but they do have a common thread. I would say if I'm just like looking for more of a varied guitar acrobatic kind of deal and I want to stretch it out, then Under would be something that I just like really enjoy playing just for riff's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
All this shit's riff heavy.
yeah. Yeah, it flows really well. I like the sounds of the guitar because it just fucking grabs you and you're like, whoa, all right, let's do this,
Yeah, tight. Thank you.
You're welcome. Uh, is there in your years of playing or your any inspiration, uh, anytime you've been inspired, is there an artist that you would love to like go and just go on tour with that for you would be like, this is my peak, right? I'll never do anything better than that.
Wow. I don't know, man. I mean, the world's just so full of phenomenal players, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's really hard to commit to. Um, and I would say that a crew of like in particular intervals, right? Their bassist, Jacob Umansky, is on this material.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, to tour with those dudes would be fucking sick. And those guys, they shred.
Yeah, you've got a lot of killer fucking musicians that guest on it, right? Bryce
Yeah,
Butler.
yeah. I mean, because it's just a project of self-expression, essentially. It's not a band anymore.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do about, playing shows again. But yeah, we've got Jacob Umansky, like I'd mentioned, he's playing bass. Bryce Butler is on drums. He is constantly touring with Shadow of Intent.
Yep.
And those guys, holy shit, dude. Do you listen to those guys? They're fucking dope. There you
I don't know if you can see it, but they were on that bill.
go.
It's
Okay.
Cannibal
Yeah,
Corpse, Whitechapel, Revocation, and Shadow of Intent.
that's so fucking sick. What a lineup, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It was like there was not a bad moment that whole fucking night.
Yeah, I can believe it, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got Bryce on the drums with that, and there's this guy Rom. He plays drums on one of the songs, the more mellowed out ballad that I have at the very end of the record. He plays in a bunch of bands. I think he's really most committed to Seek Irony, which is like an Austin native band, and he's been touring with Black Satellite and um yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's got other people on his itinerary, but yeah.
Like most drummers.
Yeah, dude, like sometimes I wonder if I should have been one.
You could have been in literally every band. you know.
That's the truth, man. And Bryce too, man. Holy shit. Like this guy is a workhorse, dude. He
Yeah.
he records drums for like fucking everybody. Like
Yeah.
he's just such an amazing musician in person.
I feel like you remember that show In Living Color?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I feel like a drummer is like the Jamaicans on that, where they're like, "Oh, time to go to work. Oh, you only have 32 jobs. Are you lazy?" You're like,
Yeah, dude. Damn, that is a throwback.
yeah, the benefits of being old, I guess.
Yeah, man. Tell me about it. I didn't expect to see this age.
Yeah, no, me neither. So crazy.
Well, it
Um,
beats the alternative, right?
yeah, well, I mean, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
No, most of the time, I love life. I actually, I feel like I've got a great life, so I'm no complaints.
Yeah.
So when you toured with Of the Sun, was there a band that you played with that you were like, man, this band was fucking phenomenal. I wish more people would have listened to them.
Oh, so you're not asking for like one of the bigger bands that I played
Nope.
with. I remember this band that we played with in Austin, Texas, Vile Aura. I remember being really, really impressed with those dudes. They were three-piece and they did this super sick version of Too Many Puppies by Primus. It
Oh, right on.
was dope. I don't know. I really like those guys. Who else? There was Deliver Us from Evil. We went on a tour with those guys like 20 years ago. Um, they were based in Evansville, Indiana, and they were like the real deal. That was it was good to see those guys really do the thing. But over time, just people decide to take life seriously.
Yeah. Well, the priorities definitely change.
Yeah.
I was actually just in Evansville for a show a couple of weeks ago, and there was a band. They're locals. I didn't realize they were locals called Forthright,
Okay.
and it's this. They do crossover. This good thrash crossover, and first couple of bands were like, yeah, okay. They came on, and the crowd just went ape shit for them.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, I love that.
Love to see that.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
what so for you, like early on, who um who like inspired you to get into playing music?
Oh man. So back in the day when I was like a just a little boy, my father, he had this garage band. He was the bassist and lead singer, and they would do like, the classic rock covers, and Eric Clapton and Leonard Skinner and stuff like that. And that got me really interested in knowing how to play. And so, yeah, I picked up the guitar. Like my cousin had this Frankenstein uh, electric that her father, which was my uncle, just like put together for her as a toy. And I bought it from her with like my birthday money. I got 15 bucks in birthday cards, and this was when I was 10 and I bought it from her. And then, yeah, my pops showed me some riffs. He showed me some bass riffs. The first song he showed me was Roadhouse Blues, and that's how I like really learned the mechanics of playing the guitar. And
That,
yeah, and from there it was funny because he jumped from that to Electric Head Part Two by White Zombie. So it was pretty dope. He's a good dad, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that was really cool because we just happened to have the guitar player magazine that had the tabs for it, and he just like studied it real quick, and he's like, "All right, so this is how you play it." I'm like, "All right, well, cool. Now I know that." Second song down.
that's
Yeah,
that's really awesome that you had that. You had not only someone who inspired you, but that took the time to like teach you songs and structures and all that good stuff.
Dude, I got really lucky, man. My father, so once I picked up the guitar, and I really started to take off with it, um, my younger brother David decided that he wanted to play bass. And so my pops just like really lit up. I was like, okay. So I had to wait a couple years, and then like he got our youngest brother a little starter kit like a couple of years later, right? And so we actually started like this family band. And Joe was 8 years old playing shows as a drummer. And like so my father, like he was booking the gigs, he was driving us to the gigs, setting up the gear, tearing it down, running sound. Like he was doing all that shit, man.
That's
And,
cool.
yeah, it was super
That
dope. It was a great childhood.
I feel like that's every musician's dream is like, not necessarily to play stadiums, but to have all their kids play music like, hey, we're a band now. Let's,
I
you know,
mean, he certainly like he did not hesitate. He was active in that shit, you know. Um, and that, really cool shit. And as cool as it would sound to be like, oh, I rebelled, like I got into music because I fucking hated my parents, and I'm a pissed off individual. Like that wasn't the case at all. It was like a situation of you know, my parents really actually giving a fuck and like doing what they could to like nurture our talents and, you know, see if we could do anything with it.
yeah. Well, I think it goes both ways, right? Like there are a lot of people out there that do rebel, but I think this, in my mind it's about 50-50, and I'm no mathematician, so I could be fucking way off, but there are also the people that are, that their parents are very nurturing. Like, hey, go and do this, learn this. If
Right.
this is what you want to do, let me follow and support you in that, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty much what we had. And then on the flip side of that, you also have parents that are like, there's no future in this. Cut the
Yeah.
shit. Like, pick a career path, God damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and those are always funny. Who was it? I just read a story about someone that was like, oh yeah, maybe his teacher in like seventh grade was like, you're never gonna be a musician, just fucking stop. You suck, or you're never gonna get anywhere. And he ended up playing like an arena in his
I think,
hometown.
are you sure that wasn't Ben from Shadow? I
It
think he might
might
have posted something about that.
that might have been who it was.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't remember who it like. I have so many random stories in my head. I'm like, and sometimes they run together, but I was like, he like invited the teacher out and was like, look at me now.
Right. Yeah,
I
that was a post that Ben Doer put up. I think that was it. I don't know.
shit it,
I could be mistaken. But
now it absolutely could have been too. And I was just like, I love that, like, haha.
yeah, look at me now,
Yeah,
motherfucker.
motherfucker.
That
Yeah,
guy
that's
can fucking roar, dude. God damn.
dude.
Compressed pipes on that guy.
There are, I feel like now, more so than ever in my life, there are more fantastic musicians and killer bands
Right.
that people don't really know about, like
Yeah.
shit, you need
Yeah,
to get out.
because the internet has really demystified like pretty much everything.
Yeah,
Every like people are approaching things now from like a very pragmatic point of view. Like they're just like, well, there's no magic to this. Like this isn't some fucking fancy trick. You just like these are the basics and you just fucking drill those until your threshold widens and like all of a sudden you can do things that you could never do before, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to see.
It really is because like the bands, Man, there are so many good fucking bands.
Mhm. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
it's like it. I don't care how many you can go and actually find today. There's, 10 million more that you haven't found yet. It's man.
I don't mean to be like a fanboy, but like Shadow, did you know those guys aren't even signed? Like
I,
they're completely independent?
Good for them.
Dude, that's the fucking shit. Like those guys are doing the thing, like for real.
That's where, like, I think that's where every band should be, is do it themselves, because of course, I think some labels do offer a little bit, but it comes from the band. If they
Yeah,
can do it themselves and retain it themselves, like I Hate God, Mastodon, when I Hate God, they go and they record and they fucking own everything, and they just license the music to a label to put out themselves. It helps them keep publishing. It helps them, make it. They make a better split when a record fucking sells than if the label paid for it.
right.
You
Yep,
know, I think a lot of, being older, I think there was a big misconception, in the 80s and 90s. Like, if I want to make it, I have to sign to a label.
right.
And a lot of people, I think, still feel that way. But the reality is, man, you can sell a tenth of the records that you would on a label and make more money.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like, honestly, are you looking to fucking get locked into a mortgage? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they're like, oh, I just got $1 million signing bonus. Like, cool, you just got to pay it back.
Yeah, you just got a loan, bro. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bonus at all.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
shit. That's cool though. I really like when bands do it themselves, So like SOI, I'm a fan of Tech Nine also for that same reason. Like, people hated his music, and he was like, cool, I'll just build it myself. And he did. And I think,
You get down
I,
with hip hop?
oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. Do you know Immortal Technique?
Mm, the name's familiar, but I don't, let me clarify.
Oh, good.
I dig hip hop. I don't
Mhm.
listen to it a whole lot.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Immortal, he's got a hard political edge that I fucking really appreciate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, fuck politics. I think it's all a scam.
Well, I mean, here we go. Yeah, I mean, so the to say that you're non-political is itself a political stance. Right?
100%. Yeah.
To be non-political, I mean, sure, but politics are still going to do what they do with you, regardless if you engage it or not.
Yeah.
Might as well engage it. Might as well like look your enemy in the fucking eye. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm not afraid to. I'll tell them all. Right. Of course, in the States, we have Democrat and Republican, and my biggest issue is we fight each other. And it's like, you do realize that all they're playing together
Yeah,
against us.
they're different sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, well, let's not get too deep into politics, because
that's not good. Yeah,
so you're in Germany, right?
yeah.
What made you go to Germany?
I met my wife. She was born and raised here, and she took a spontaneous trip to Austin, Texas back in 2018. And we met and hit it off. I came over to visit her, and she was like, "Hey, I'm building a house. I know that you're a carpenter. I think it would be amazing if you would help me build my house and live in it with me. It's just deal. Let's go."
Yeah,
So
congratulations.
I uprooted and started my life over again. Like I didn't know anybody but her, so I came to Germany knowing one person here and had to learn the language and all that shit.
Yeah. How are you doing with the language today?
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I can't say I'm fluent. Like whenever I'm having a conversation with somebody, they know it's obvious that I'm a foreigner, like, so
Yeah,
where are you from? Like, I'm from America, but but I have a functional understanding of it.
right on.
Yeah.
That that's fucking cool. That,
I did not like, if you had asked me before 2018 if I expected to be able to speak German in the future, I would have said no, man. Like, what's the point?
here you are 6 years later, living in Germany. Like, oh shit. All right.
Yeah, man. Life is fucking wild.
So, do you see do you see a difference in like the music community over there versus like over here?
Yeah, so there's this interesting group on the app called WhatsApp.
Hmm.
Do you know about that? It's like a messaging application.
Yeah,
And it's just like the metal crew, and just like everyone's just constantly sharing news and updates about, shows and festivals, and just also fucking jokes and memes and gifs and all that shit. But it's the the taste in metal here is just like completely the entire spectrum. You're talking like kind of the cheesy 80s type shit is still big for a lot of people here, but then you've got people like into stuff like, Humanity's Last Breath, or, you know, Igor, I fucking love that band.
yeah.
Uh,
I've not
yeah,
heard that
so
name in a minute, so I'm like, hell yeah.
yeah, Igor's dope. But yeah, I mean, as far as like a difference, I mean, yeah, I would have to say, when I was in Austin, Texas, I was part of this deal called the Texas Metal Collective, and it was essentially just a grassroots metal organization, a bunch of metal bands that decided to like band together and like just book together and organize together and do what we could, and pool funds and all that shit. And that was great until, my band collapsed and all that. But sorry, I'm getting tangential. The
No, you're
difference though, is, I don't know, that there's a lot of similarities to it. It's just like people enjoying heavy music and showing up for it whenever there are showcases. I'd have to say that there's more interest here because there's not as many shows. Like, I live in a fucking farming village, bro. Like,
uh,
surrounded by hop fields and corn and cows and horses and shit, and like the closest city is Ingolstadt, and that's maybe 20 minutes out. And there's a couple of venues there, but nothing big. I have to go to Munich, which is 40 minutes south, and to see like the larger shows. But like even like mid-sized shows are pretty much always fucking packed here, man. Like, people really show up here in a way that I didn't really see all that much in a place like Austin, where there's always shows happening and people just have their pick. They can
yeah.
just decide, nah, not tonight.
I'll see him next month or whatever.
Exactly. So yeah, I would have to say that there's more interest in general here. Yeah.
That's super cool. And I like the idea of a collective too, of everyone like working together to make something happen because I feel like that's a missed opportunity almost across the board. So many bands are like, we're better than you, or
Yeah, I mean, you just took the thought out of my head, dude. That was a really poison thought that gripped a lot of bands in the original town that we came from, which was Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It was just constant fucking throat cutting, dude. Just people being like, "No, I'm the biggest fish in this pond. Fuck you." You
yeah,
know, we're not doing anybody any favors. Like, we're the best. And it didn't get anybody anywhere. There's not any band from there, like, aside from the Classic Struggle. But those dudes, like, they weren't trying to just be a fucking Myrtle Beach band. Like they hit the road and they got signed to Ironclad, I think, which is like a subsidiary of Metal Blade. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, they did the thing. And
Yeah.
the whole collective deal was a really cool experience
Yeah.
in Austin. It was just a complete fucking head change for sure.
That's awesome. When you get into those collective scenarios, it's like all the ego goes away and like, hold on, we absolutely have to, work together
Yeah.
to make this happen. And if we could get more independence on that, independent bands on that, mindset, I feel like there would be much larger artists that are completely unsigned, selling out, two, three, 5,000 seat arenas or what have you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I have to say, aside from like a lot of, the few uh stars that got where they were because of just like connections with
Hmm.
like industry figures, like there was so much interplay and like cooperation between bands, like at least like for instance during the grunge era, those dudes were all friends with one another. They fucking wrote songs together. They had little side groups that turned into like bigger things together.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking of Mad Season in particular. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That was Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam, wasn't it?
yeah. It was I think Alice in Chains, Pearl Jam, Tad, and it was like three or four bands that came together to do it. That is actually that was a fucking fantastic project.
Yeah,
As soon as you started saying that, I was like, oh, Mad Season, man, that was a, and they had what, Temple of a Dog,
right. Yeah, yeah.
uh, so you're right. Like it was, I'm surprised more people didn't take note of like what Seattle did with that because they were all friends. I mean,
Right.
Lane Staley and Kurt Cobain were so close. Like Lane ended up dying the same day that Kurt died a few years later, and it's like,
That's the truth. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, man. And I have to say that grunge in particular was formative in my appreciation for just like getting into music,
yeah,
as a kid. Like I was listening to like junky grunge when I was 8 years old. Like, yeah, this is good music.
yeah. I so I was when I was real young, so I'm almost 50.
Okay.
I was single digits, and there was a guy in my neighborhood that turned me on to metal, and I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And 89, which I mean, it was probably 5 or 6 years later, I ran into him in town, and he goes, "Hey, I've got this band I think you'll really like. Like, I don't really care for it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." He gives me Nirvana's Bleach.
Okay.
I was like, I listened to it, and it was, the first, I think, two pressings of it were unmastered. So you
Sounds
hear
right.
the you hear the squelching and all the feedback and all the mistakes, and I fucking fell in love with it. And everyone was like, "That is such garbage. Why are you listening to that?" But
Shit's real.
I'm like, it's the best thing ever. I can't believe you don't know. And then,
Dude, like people just they talk shit because they were just such an eponymous band. They were just like fucking everywhere. Nirvana was just like the band. Dude, those guys were fucking huge, huge
yeah,
inspirations for me, dude. Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, because it was, they made it right doing something that no one ever thought, the that they would get there.
Right.
Like their music wasn't really well polished, great, song structure, like verse, chorus, verse, or what have you. Um, they did their own thing, especially, you look at, um, oh shit, now I'm drawing a freaking a blank. Well, look at
Incesticide?
Bleach.
Which one? What are you thinking?
Well, now the last album.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Never mind. Was it the
No,
last
that no, that was the second. Never mind was the second one. Shit. Had heart-shaped box and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see the
the
cover right in my
cover.
head.
Yeah, me too. It's
Was
like a but
well,
whatever. Yeah. But you listen to that and it's a lot more in the like noise vein than everything else. They
right.
they very much did exactly what they wanted to do. Fuck everyone.
It's not in utero, is it?
It
Yeah,
is. That
yeah,
is exactly it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to go look at my records but as soon as I'm done here.
Yeah. I don't, dude. I am I don't have records, I don't have CDs, I don't have shit, man. Like I'm just I have as few items as I can, which isn't saying much. I still have a bunch of shit that I don't need, but
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like that's as much as I fucking despise what's happening with like streaming music and how it's fucking all the musicians as hard as they can. You know, I have to, admit that I've taken some I'm at fault because, all the music that I listen to is right here. You know what
right
I mean?
there. Yeah. I think a lot of people, as much as we bitch and complain about it, I listen to streaming constantly.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. I also, because I like the bands, I'll also buy the shirts or the posters and the records and the CDs. Like,
Or
you know,
even like hit up the Bandcamp and
yeah,
buy the record there.
buy it digitally. Yeah, actually, just did that. Some band sent me a record, and I was like, You don't have to send it to me. Like, I'll buy it." And they're like, "No, no, no, we'll send it." And they sent it, so I just went and I bought like 3 digital copies just to be like, "Cool, I'm giving you something also."
Yeah, there
Um,
you go. Good
so
man. Okay.
I want people to keep making music. Shit,
Yeah, dude.
my life would be fucking lame without it.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you there, but
So what bands are you listening to right now that you think other people should like listen to? Bands that might be active right now.
so lesser knowns, there's this band that I've been into for fucking 20 years. They just came out with a record recently after a long ass hiatus. Um, they're not metal, they're more avant-garde art music. They're called Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum.
Okay.
Fucking love those dudes. Like they're just such their own thing and they have such a unique sound. Um, there's this fucking nightmare sounding band out of Florida called Eyes of Your Eyes that I just recently discovered. Um, I recommend that for people who want to hear some fucking like chaotic metal, like for real. That's like kind of in the vein of Humanity's Last Breath meets drum core. Like it's just fucking nuts, dude. Like that band.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaking cool.
Dude, have you heard of Pallid Veil?
Mm-mm.
It's a super group, so it's not exactly what I'd consider to be like, lesser known, but they are under the radar right now. But get this shit, man. It's Elliot Hoffman, the drummer of Car Bomb, um, Liam from the bassist of Dillinger Escape Plan. They got Dave from Revocation. They've got Luke from Gorguts. Who else? Um, I'm missing another dude, I believe, but
I
like
think
it's
Dave just posted something about that, I think a couple weeks back.
they've only released a single, but like it's fucking superb, man.
Right on. Yeah, I'll have to listen to that. Of course, Dave is a fucking out of this world like musician in his own right. Like to
Yeah,
watch him play is always like,
yeah.
how?
Do you play?
Uh, I haven't played in many years. Like, the last
Okay.
time I played up until probably 15 or 16 years ago, and when I left my ex,
Mhm.
I left and was planning on coming back and getting my equipment. And when I started to come back to get my equipment, she was like, "Oh, it all got stolen." Like, no, it didn't. You went and sold all that shit. So
Sucks.
yeah, I was like, I mean, tens of thousands of dollars out the window. I called the cops, filed a report, uh, and I was in between places, so I didn't have any kind of insurance, and it was just like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to get back into it. And I've got guitars and keyboards and shit now, but I don't play.
Wall decoration.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I taught was teaching my daughter how to play a little bit. So she enjoys. She doesn't really play anymore either, but we go to a lot of fucking concerts, dude.
Oh yeah, she's in the metal too.
Oh yeah, especially
Oh,
now. Like we just Louder Than Life was this past weekend.
okay.
So, it's 4 days of about any kind of metal you can think. Her and her boyfriend spent all 4 days there, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. Good shit, man.
Yeah. What was super cool is there's this band out of San Francisco, Hemorrhage, that has done their own thing, and their like first like big stage appearance was at Louder Than Life.
Okay.
Well, they stayed at my house, so like Saturday night after everyone, got home, we all sat around the living room and we're talking about the experience, and to see the look on my daughter and her boyfriend's face when they were like, "Oh, this band, like Nothing More really stuck out to them." So they're like, "Nothing More was fucking blah blah blah," and I was just like, "Yeah, you should absolutely love those moments."
Yeah, man, that's special. That's cool, man. My son is going to be 2 years old this winter. So he isn't quite at that level just yet, but I'm looking forward to it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that's so my favorite memories with my family are taking them, like having them come out to shows with us, and we know a lot of bands and we go to a lot of local shows, so it's really cool for them to like meet the musicians. Well, when they were, you know, 9, 10 years old, they're meeting the musicians like, man, this is so fucking cool. Like, yeah, it is, but you should, we're doing this because they're good musicians and we should support the arts, and
Yeah.
and to see like my daughter is 17 now.
Okay.
So to see her like actually take it on and not just do it because, oh, dad wants me to go. Um,
Yeah, to see you're passionate about it. That's gotta be
yeah,
fucking dope, man.
it's
Oh yeah.
super fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I did something right. Yes, you
Ha.
know.
She survived. She's still
Yeah,
with us. And she's into cool shit. Fuck yeah.
yeah. Well, and that, the funniest thing was my wife last year was we all went to Louder Than Life last year, and it was like the first time my daughter like didn't stay with us the whole time.
Okay.
So like she went off with her boyfriend, and my wife's like, "Are you worried?" I'm like, "What do I have to be worried about? I know the metal community,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
That 99% of the people are awesome. They're going to look out for each other. She knows if she gets in trouble, she knows where to go, what to do. I got
And
no,
people will have her back.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, fucking go. This is the place to do it.
That's
Start
what's up,
getting,
man.
yeah.
Good on you. That's solid father power move, bud.
Well, thanks, dude. It just, I want them to be fucking whatever they enjoy. I don't care what it is. I want them to enjoy it and be happy and be confident with what they enjoy.
Right. Experience the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Cool, man.
All
Good
right,
stuff.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Um, I want you to let me know like what kind of physical copies you have when you make that decision.
You got it, man. Any preferences?
I'm a vinyl guy.
Yeah, I got that impression.
Yeah, I am absolutely a vinyl guy. But if you decide you're only going to do CD, I will buy that also.
Well, I mean, as far as vinyl goes, do you have any resources to suggest?
I do. I've got a few.
Okay.
I'll I'll message you, and
Good shit.
that way you can get that, make that connection too.
Great. Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anything we.
I'd love to be able to print up some vinyls like at some point in my life. Just
Hell
like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, they're I mean, for for me, I grew up with, that was my world, put on the record, put on the headphones, stare at the art, read all the liner notes, like,
for some reason that reminds me of the end of that movie Dazed and Confused. When that kid is drunk and he goes home and he just starts listening to whatever.
yep. Yeah, because I mean that's what it's like when you're a teenager, right? That's how it
Mm.
should be anyway. All right. Well, Patrick, I greatly appreciate your time and the conversation that we've had. Thank you very much for that.
Good shit, man. Yeah. Nice to
Hell
meet
yeah.
you.
Nice to meet you too, my friend. Go
Yeah.
and have yourself a great night. And I don't know, we'll chat soon. I'll send you some of that stuff over the next couple of days.
Great, man. Let's keep in touch. I appreciate it. This has been
Hell,
fun.
hell yeah, dude. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Peace.
Thanks. See ya.